I think driven's a huge character trait I see. I mean, everybody is so driven to do well and to succeed in whatever they're doing. It's contagious, and that's partly like what I uh, attribute to like my success.
I'm Glenn Herbert, and I'm an editor with Our Kids. We're speaking with insiders from Canada's leading private schools to gain insights into their programs, culture, traditions, and leadership. This includes insights from parents, alumni, and administrators. This is the Our Kids Insider Perspective.
The sense of community is 100% the what I appreciate the most from attending UCC. To this day, my best friends are people from UCC, and my when I look back on my experience, it is just all very, very positive. And talking to other people who came from schools that weren't coming from other schools, generally like uh, that's not the kind of the sense that they have. High school isn't necessarily the time where they made the most amount of friends or uh, those kinds of things. But for me, just immediately going there, to this day, I still talk to my best friends are still people from that I met at UCC, and as well, just in terms of the opportunities it's provided me later on. Right now, I work with a uh, neurologist who graduated from UCC in 2001, and I had just seen that he went there, so I sent him a message, and uh, now we're working together. And I just got a reference letter from my track coach for a scholarship I'm applying to, and those kinds of relationships are very, very strong and important to me. And it's something that when I look back, it was always there. There was never a time when I felt like I didn't belong or I was an outsider. There was always a way that a teacher or somebody on the faculty would just make me feel like, you know, I was a part of something bigger. Well, I guess that academically, what differentiates UCC first and foremost is the IB program. That's something that was extremely beneficial in, you know, my go in my knowledge going into university, having the transfer credits and uh, not choosing AP courses like some other schools do, but actually having just, this is the program. You can't do anything else. Like you are in the IB program. That was significant for me. And then just athletics wise, UCC was always a powerhouse when it came to soccer. We won uh, the, the CISA championships every year I was there. Uh, Track and field, we would often be, you know, one of the top teams to finish at CISAs. There, a large number of my friends came from other faraway places. They would come in from Pickering, from Brampton, from Scarborough. You know, it allowed for a more diverse and a more diverse population, and that made me feel more welcome. That I wasn't the odd one out of this group of wealthier, you know, generally upper class, or what the common perception is of kids who go to private school. There were many more kids just like that, and so it just made me feel more welcome and more engaged. And just from going to other schools, uh, whether it be for a tournament or for an event, I didn't see that. It was much more of the generic kind of, this is what that school. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this. I mean, I'm not trying to put down any other school or anything like that, just kind of going off of my experiences, that the fact that there was a bit more diversity, and and something I didn't touch on is just the financial aid aspect of it. I mean, I don't know if any other school provides complete and full financial aid to their students, because I know, having looked at other schools too, there was always that, we provide financial aid, but your parents still have to you're still kind of expected to contribute a little bit to it. And just given my background, my parents, like, we couldn't really do that at all. And so the school took that into consideration, and not only funded my first 3 years of my education, but when we would go on tournaments to Montreal or to Bermuda for soccer, uh, that would be covered as well. And you know, it's phenomenal that I was able to have those experiences uh, funded at such a young age, because that contributed to my development so much. And in my final year, I was allowed to become a boarding student, and obviously that's a significant gap in the cost as well, and they covered that as well. And I don't think any other school goes to that extent in terms of supporting their students financially. Yeah, so supportive. I know I mentioned the financial support, but it goes well beyond that. The 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 wellness center and the wellness aspects of the school would go above and beyond to help out, not only myself but other students as well. And the nurses there were the nurses, the teachers, the faculty, they understand that, there are stresses that students go through in high school. And, it was always an accommodating place when it came to aspects like that. Uh, and that's not something that and that and that's something that just I'm extremely appreciative of, because that's often a place other where you often see schools slip up in terms of being supporting their students' mental health and well-being. And I thought the school did an amazing job at that. And so just be feeling supported uh, mentally, feeling supported uh, academically, in terms of, whenever I had a question or needed extra help in a certain subject, having those having those teachers outside of office, help me out. It was never something that I had to question or be worried about not being able to access. So supportive is that's why supportive is definitely the probably what I would say is the biggest adjective that I would use to describe the school. And in terms of fun, uh, the events that we have, the assemblies, every Friday we have a student assembly. And so it's run by the grade it's run by a student for who's elected in grade 11 going into grade 12. And so just that event is like, it's meant for all the students to come together. And it's uh, it's not led by the principal. The principal's assembly is on Monday, and so this one's like the fun one. And there's always just something fun, and get standing up and singing a song and banging on the pews, uh, and having that to look forward to. It was just always so exciting. It gave you something to look forward to, during the early when you're working hard Monday to Thursday. Friday morning you have that. Or when we would have an athletic event, we would always have this like parade beforehand, where we'd be going through the school and kind of getting everybody uh, excited for it. We'd have an assembly beforehand that would just be, almost like a party. Like, it would just be such a big thing when the basketball team would play and one of the schools would come over. We'd all wear the same thing and go and cheer on the team. And things like that just made the school so much more fun to attend, because it wasn't just this purely academic, focused school. You were allowed to let loose a little bit and and to have fun. And
Hmm.
so that's what I would say for fun. So for engaging, I'd have to go back and just and talk about just how good the teachers were. You know, giving a specific example, like in biology, we had a book club basically, and we read the double helix. And so, in this course that's so known for memorization and just rote recall, once a week we would get together and discuss this book and uh, discuss how and then discuss like the applications of it to what we're learning. And that's just one example, but there were other areas where the teachers would go above and beyond to make sure that this wasn't just material in a textbook that we're learning. This is something that goes the well beyond what's in the textbook. And so I had another teacher who uh, would talk about his experience as a researcher, studying crayfish. And when we and we have this space called Norval. It's an outdoor facility, and we would go there, and he would just grab a crayfish. Like he'd be doing his thing there, and he would show us, and you get to see like what that aspect is like. And so you there's one thing to learn in the textbook and to know the material, but it's another to really go above and beyond to really get the point across that this is something that you can do as a career, something you can do for fun, and it doesn't all have to be just this monotonous, uh, memorization of material. I think driven's a huge character trait I see. I mean, everybody is so driven to do well and to succeed in whatever they're doing. It's contagious, and that's partly like what I uh, attribute to like my success uh, post UCC, because when everyone around you is just like so into what they're doing, like one of my best friends was just really into physics and computer programming, and I would just see like the stuff he was able to do and the stuff he was doing and the places and what he wanted to do in the future, the places he was applying to. And like when that's what you're surrounded with just everywhere, it's like you want to also be like that. And so the just that drive and that that desire to just want to do well, it being so common was is something that uh, I would say largely uh, impacts that largely defines the student body. And then that's also goes beyond academics, because athletics wise, you would go to the gym and you would see the football team or the hockey team uh, working out or getting ready for a game, and it was like it's just the seeing how hard they were working and seeing how that translated on the field. When it came to getting that last minute goal or that last second touchdown, it's like you really see how it's not just this thing where you're 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 working hard and focusing on something, but also how that works when it comes to athletics. Because it's almost like it was out of a movie, because so many times it would be down to the wire in a game, whether no matter the sport or a race, and we just edge it out. And funny enough, it's like when I was in grade 9, I was at the metro, at the city championships for track and field, and this is my first year doing track. Top four go to OFSA, which is kind of like the final stage, and it's what everybody looks to. And I was going up against guys who did this just as this is their sport, and soccer was my main sport. But then, uh, you know, it came down to a photo finish between me and this other person, and I ended up getting 15.25 seconds, and he got 15.26 seconds, and that's what got me to OFSA. And it's just like it's ridiculous how that played out so many times, where it's just like you just need that one little bit, and somehow it was somebody from it was one of our teams or somebody from our school who was able to do that. And so just seeing that drive just all the time was just inspiring, and something that the student body all exhibited in whatever area that they enjoyed. I guess I'd have to go back and say to what I was saying before, and I think community is a value that defines the school, and it's something that they often talk about, and it holds true completely, because the events and the things the school did on a day-to-day basis, you know on every Monday having a principals assembly and having a song that we were able to sing, and banging on the pews uh, during it, and uh, that was just something that definitely brought people together. And something I forgot to mention, which definitely exemplifies this, is the house system. We have, I think it was 10 houses. So pretty much like uh, Harry Potter, where you have Gryffindor and Slytherin. We had Mowbrays, we had Oars, we had different houses that you're put into at the start. And then that becomes your, smaller community. And every month, you'd have, some event with that community. And there would be a teacher, there'd be a couple teachers and a couple people on faculty that are a part of that team as well. And so you have that community, which is like a smaller subsection of the greater community. And then you would have like events between different houses, and then you would have a house cup. The house cup was just like this thing that everybody wanted to get, and you would do so many events throughout the year where you could get points for it, and then at the end, one of the houses gets it. And that's just this recurring thing, because it's always something that's there. There's always an event, there's always some way you could participate to help get your team points. And so you have that happening just within the school, and that builds this camaraderie within you know just within your house. And then when you put that on the larger scale and you talk about, uh, you know, uh, A Day, which is our like association day, when uh, which is like a huge day where alumni and everybody comes and they watch the football team play and they watch the soccer team play. And then you see what was like these small subsections, these like small your houses all come together. And then you see alumni from those houses come. And then you see this whole group of people coming together to support the the varsity teams, to support the uh, the the jazz band, to support uh, the art exhibition. It was just always there, and that's how they really just exemplified it in such a great way. Just the sheer breadth of talent that the school is able to bring together. Because something that you often see is, you think about a school and you're like, this is an art school, or this is a athletic school, this is where you go for academics. And I mean, just off the top of my head, there are schools where you're like, which is the best school for academics? Here. Which is the best school for athletics? Here. At UCC, we had uh, one of the best jazz bands in the country. They would go to uh, other they would go to the States to perform. They would go to other places to perform. We had the best Model United Nations team, like one of the best Model United Nations team in North America. I think we won the tournament at Harvard. You know, we had one of the best hockey teams in in the in the high one of the best high school hockey teams. We have some of the best uh, computer programmers who perform so well at the, the coding championships. We have some of the best mathematicians who like score the highest on these tests. It's like no matter what it is that you're into, the school won't only like just introduce it to you. They'll show you how you can excel at it, because the student population, the student body, and the teachers and the people who are there, supporting you and helping you there, are so just good at at engaging you and bringing that about. I mean, I never did hurdles. I had an exceptional hurdles coach, and I ended up being able to go to like the provincial championships year after year. And I don't think I would have that level of support, uh, or that level of quality coaching at another school. And my friends who did jazz band, I don't know if they would have uh, if they'd have teachers as good as the ones we had, who were able to bring these people together to perform such amazing music. And so I think that would be surprising, because when you think of UCC, you do think, yeah, like they're good with athletics, they're good with academics, but it goes so much beyond that. And I think that would be what surprises prospective families coming in. It's an extreme privilege to have graduated from there, and the way it's shaped me in terms of what I do now, uh, it's it can't be. It's hard to over overemphasize. So the school is really good at giving you opportunities to serve something bigger, to help out uh, in a way that goes beyond the general uh, stuff that you normally think of as volunteering. And I think that's a big thing that shaped me, because you realize at some point that it's not all about you know what you do and your success. It's about helping out other people and helping out others. And you know when I was there, we had the Syrian Refugee Club, and having events where we were able to bring the recently arrived uh, uh, families to the school, or sponsor a family to come over, or fundraise for a surgery for uh, or fundraise for certain medical procedures. Seeing that in action at that age, now so much of what I do is just based on this idea that I want to be able to help people, and I want to uh, give back to my community whatever way I can, by being a part of a mentorship program, or by uh, volunteering uh, at the vaccine clinics. Uh, that was really instilled in me at UCC, and so that would be a way that I would say it shaped me. But generically, speaking just on a broader level, it's shaped me just in the sense of like my drive and my ambition and my uh, motivation. It all started in grade 9. It all and going forward, by having those teachers who were able to bring the best of me, bring out the best, and help me excel in what I wanted to do. To highlight, or to not put so much emphasis, or as much emphasis, on post-secondary education. It's common, when you're there and there's all this drive, everybody, wants to get into the big names, like in the States, like the Ivy Leagues, and the, you know, these programs that are hard to get into. And obviously, like applying to QRMs, obviously I'm like uh, speaking on that too, because, but I think that, the school is, I mean, obviously it's great to do that, but, you realize later on that it doesn't really matter. and that shouldn't be the end goal, is to go somewhere just because of the name. And so maybe if the school was able to, you know, uh, was better able to highlight that it's not always about, uh, uh, it's not always about what the name of the school is, but the school that's able to, support you the best way, in the best way possible. And uh, no matter where you go or what you do, that you'll be able to be successful the with the things that you've learned from the school. And so, uh, or even going beyond that and saying that, maybe post-secondary education isn't for everybody, and maybe uh, it, it'd be better to maybe take a gap year, or maybe to learn a trade. Those are the kinds of things that I know it's not always the what a school wants to talk about, but I think it's important because you know it it's it, it's something you realize later, that maybe I was overemphasizing how important it was to get into to apply to to an Ivy League school. Did I really want to go there? Did I just think it was cool because it's the name, and that's kind of what other people were doing? So that's what I would maybe work towards changing. When you're at UCC, it's kind of a bubble in a way. It can be like a bubble because you're so into that community. It's hard to see what I guess the real world is like in a way. I think that the way my perspective has changed is going into healthcare and looking at and learning more about like things like the social determinants of health, and just the things that are going on in the world. I realize more and more that my ability to get my education at UCC and have the opportunities provided to me are is an extreme is a very, very significant uh, privilege. And so whereas before I thought of this, I was I didn't think about it in that way. Now I really realize that my success and my current ambition and the way I currently am is so largely solidified in that uh, in that education I was able to receive. And so that perspective change has made me think more and more about how I could use that to the best of my abilities, and to not simply take from it and uh, go into and just and me be the only beneficiary of that experience. So firstly, I don't think you would get the breadth of uh, experience at any other school. I don't think there's any other school that could compare in terms of providing you the level of academics, the level of athletics, and the level of arts, or whatever else you're interested in. You have the opportunity ex- to to become to learn in all those facets to a very high degree. And you don't have to pigeonhole yourself early on because the school is better at one thing than another. They're amazing at all aspects, and so that's definitely the first thing I would say. Secondly, I think the teachers, the professors, are just go above and beyond to help you, to support you, and to enhance your knowledge. And um, you don't see that anywhere else. It doesn't compare to my professors in university. It doesn't compare to the teachers I had in middle school or elementary school. You really see teachers who care about you and who want you to succeed. And I don't think you could, and I think that should be one of the big draws for anybody potentially looking to apply to UCC, is knowing that the teacher is not just there to teach, they're there to support you and they're there to help you in well beyond whatever it is you're learning, whether it be uh, for something personal or for something else. The teachers are there, the faculty is there for you. And so that would be the second point. And then lastly, I think uh, the community is the is one of the biggest draws for people. To this day, I communicate with people from the school. I work with people who went to this school, uh, and that's not really something you see from people who met in high school. I'm uh, when I see my friends and the stuff they're doing, there's some type of relationship there that 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 was developed within UCC. And going forward, my relationships with my friends from UCC and my teachers from there, that's only growing, and it's not something that just ended there. So having that community, not just within the school, but also when you graduate, it's still being there. It it's something that I think is unique to this school. That you want to send your your child somewhere where they're able to, you know, be curious. And I think that the opportunities the school is able to provide cultivates that curiosity in the greatest way possible. So whether the whether your child is thinking of uh, is unsure about what they want to do, or if they're very sure about what they want to do, there's no doubt that UCC will help them in whatever way, because it'll let you just learn and develop in any facet, no matter what level you're at. And so I think if you're on the fence and you're not sure if it's the right place, if you do choose to go to UCC, you'll see why it was the right choice. Take all the opportunities that you can and try to be as as en- engaged as possible and do things that you wouldn't have otherwise done, because uh, it's easy to get so into the academics that kind of forget about all the other things the school has to provide. But become part of a club that you never thought you'd be a part of, or try out for a sports team that you never thought you would be actually be doing, because you might act that might be what uh, leads to your interest, or what cultivates your interest in that discipline. And so uh, yeah, I would just say take up all the opportunities you can that go beyond the academics, because uh, they complement the education you're receiving, and they lead to just you having a better overall uh, sense of the community.
For more information about this school, you can visit their profile at ourkids.net.